Did you know that the square knots on a leader's uniform actually tells a story? Let's get into it. Hey, ScouterStan. I want to talk a little bit about the square knots, these things that are on an adult uniform. But before we get into that, I want to personally thank you for participating in this channel. This has been a wild ride. We're going through the seasons like crazy. So I appreciate all that you do, and I want you to keep doing it. Now, square knots actually tells a story. It can tell you what skills the leader has done and what type of training they've had. Can all be told just by seeing and recognizing the different square knots that are on the uniform. Before you put comments about the square knot is the knot that we have imaged in the patch, okay? That image, the square knot, is also known as a reef knot in many parts of the world, and it's also known as a Herculean knot, okay? I bet you didn't know that. And it's a joining knot. So that is the knot that we use for leadership or representing leadership. Now, the crazy part about that is that the knot is easy to accidentally sew it on upside down. And there is some rules as far as how that should be manipulated on the shirt. Now, the square knots that are over here, this is on the left side, the wearer's left side of the uniform. That would be the viewer's right side. So that's where these go. There can be up to 9 before you run out of space on that side of the uniform. Now, I've seen leaders with more than 9, okay, and that's fine. That's fine if they have a shirt that's accommodating so that the patches aren't moving too far out of space. That's fine. And honestly, if you have more than 9, wear them. I honor that, okay? So please go ahead and do that. Now, that may not be appropriate for an inspection, but believe me, if you have more than 9, it shouldn't be a problem. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's very easy for the patch to be sewn on upside down. So I'm going to put up an illustration, and we're going to talk about how to determine the appropriate positioning of the square knot. When looking at the rope on the patch, on the right, the rope coming in from that side will have a loop that'll be over or top of the left ropes. Now, this can be difficult if you have multiple colored ropes, if it's all the same color, like in the eagle square knot, the Eagle Scout square knot is all the same rope. It's red, white, and blue rope. So it's kind of difficult to figure out which way's the correct way. Now, before you sew on a square knot, make sure you check a chart and make sure the chart is right. I've seen charts out there that had it on upside down, so make sure that it's the right way up. Now, if you find a scout leader that doesn't have it on correct, say for instance it's upside down, that's okay. You don't have to go crazy on them, okay? So just mention it, and maybe they can take care of that next time they get something sewn or next time they get the sewing box out. Now, one of the neat things about a square knot, once it's earned, it's permanent. It's part of the scouter's record. If the scout leader has earned the square knot twice, they don't wear 2. They actually wear the first one and add devices, which are small metal pins that go through that patch. And that states what type of re-earning of that patch has been done. Now, there are 4 categories of knots, and these vary, and some of the knots are actually earned when the adult leader was a youth. The first category is achievement. That would be like Arrow of Light or the Eagle Scout medal, the Silver Award from Venturing, Quartermaster from Sea Scouts. So these are square knots that can be worn in achievement. Now some of these have different backgrounds. For instance, Sea Scouts may have a white or a blue background. And then if you're a NISA lifetime member of NISA, as an Eagle Scout, you get a different border. So there are different variations. The next big category is awards. All three of the life-saving merit awards are also represented as square knots. The Medal of Merit, the Medal of Heroism, the Honor Medal. Other awards like Community Organizer, District Award of Merit, which oddly is not a square knot, Silver Beaver, Silver Antelope, Silver Buffalo, Silver World, Unit Leader Award of Merit. The third category of square knots is recognition. Typically, this recognition is something that is earned as part of being involved in a unit. James West Fellowship, Hornaday, the Youth or the Adult Religious Knot, William D. Boyce, Scouting Service, International Scouter, Venturing Leadership, Order of the Arrow Distinguished Service, Distinguished Commissioner Service, Commissioner's Award of Excellence, Special Needs Scouting Award, Alumni, Cubmaster, Cub Scouter, Weeblo's Den Leader, Tiger Den Leader, Pack Trainer, Den Leader, Scouter Award of Merit, Speaker Bank. The fourth category is training. Now typically these are earned by the adult over a period of time. There's typically requirements of training that they need to take and activities they need to do in order to achieve these square knots. Doctorate of Commissioner Science, Philmont Training Master Trek, Scouter's Key, Scout Leader Training. Now, keeping that in mind, all four of these categories, none are better than others, okay? A lot of the ones, if you have to grade them, a lot of the ones that are early on, such as achievements, those are things that are done when they were youth. That scout leader has gone through that. Now, if you look at my set that I have, the bottom row, the one that's closest to the pocket flap, is actually all earned when I was young, okay? All three of those were when I was young. So that says something. When you see that on the uniform, you have to judge those four different groups and, you know, you can kind of figure out where the individual's experience comes from. Now, here's another thing. Once like I said earlier, once an adult leader earns that square knot, it's permanent. And that's even if it's no longer around, if it's no longer available, if it has been phased out or deprecated in some way away from scouting. If they've earned it, they can still wear it, okay? That is valuable, and it definitely goes on the pocket. Now, if you know a scout leader in your unit or at Round Table or other units, and they've been in scouting for a period of time, they don't have any knots, there might be one of three things that are going on there. It could be quite simply that they're not being recognized for their service and their training. So check into it. Make sure that they get recognized. It is important to keep adult leaders happy and motivated. That's one of these things that just is really important. Now, the second reason is they might be hesitant for some reason or shy. So don't make a big deal of it, but find out what's going on. Now, the third thing, it's a new shirt. they haven't had time to put their patches on. Now, new shirts, we're going to talk a little bit about that later in the season. We're going to talk about the uniform, my uniform to be exact, and where all these patches and what's going on there. But in Wood Badge, staff often wears a very plain uniform shirt. None of the square knots, no troop or anything. It's all troop one, very plain. And there's a reason for that. When you go to Wood Badge, you go through a process of leadership. When you're learning leadership, you can't really focus on people walking around with a whole bunch of patches on. Okay, you can't read their book of all of their patches and what that means. You have to go by your group, okay? And it's a development thing. So it's a distraction if they walk around with all of these books and people will say, oh, let's ask this person, let's do this, let's go over this way. No, they need to find that within their own group. So it's intentional. So we wear uniforms that have no indication, no story, so that they develop their own story. So that's a big thing with Wood Badge. Now, I know that you've got every single one of those memorized. No, don't go out there and try to do that. Find out what you're looking for, and then find out what patch or what patches you need to be looking for out there in the world, okay? If you need Eagle Scouts to help mentor Life Scouts to become Eagles, finding them by knowing what that patch looks like is critical as an adult leader. So you don't have to memorize all of these patches, okay? But as time goes on, you will get more familiar with these patches and they will tell the story, and they can be a resource. They can help you help your scouts achieve. So that's the wonderful thing. And I know you do a lot of that work already. So keep up that good work, and I will see you on the trail.